from me today. Gifts and benefits policy, recommending that council adopt that as draft and place that on public exhibition. The key change to that is reduction in the token value amount to a cumulative value of $50. So that brings that in line with the recently adopted Code of Conduct.
Moved by Councillor Online, second by Councillor Neagle. Any questions or comments, council? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Aye. Against, carried.
Thank you. Item 8.2 is the New South Wales Public Library funding campaign that we are currently participating in. We had some pleasing announcement by the New South Wales Government for a $60 million funding package for New South Wales Public Libraries. I just wanted to highlight, though, that we do believe that the work needs to continue to ensure that that actually is in budget. At the moment, it's a funding promise. And we also want that funding to be ongoing funding, so that we're not, again, in 4 years' time, having to run another funding campaign to ensure that the libraries are adequately funded. Federation Council is funding almost $500,000 a year to run the library services, and a very, very small portion of that, less than $60,000 a year is received from the state government. It's a service we're required to run as part of the Local Government Act, and certainly greatly valued service by our community. So seeking, I've recommended there that we continue with our participation in that campaign.
So moved by Councillor Neagle, second by Councillor Moore. Any questions or comments, Councillor Neagle?
Yeah, just a quick one, Mr Mayor, to say, agree with Ms Kate. It's very nice to get a one-off payment, but that's really a little bit of a sleight of hand. What we really need is recurrent funding to make sure that for a service that's actually legislated in the Act and then not being funded, any assistance from the state government since they put it in the Act is a little bit cheeky. So certainly endorse the remarks that we need to make sure that encourage that funding to be recurrent and to also increase the percentage that the state government are contributing.
Thank you, Councillor Neagle. Councillor Thomas.
In line with my fellow Councillor Neagle, what he stated, I just think too there needs to be a lot more public awareness. The scope of our libraries has expanded, and what they provide and the services they provide is growing exponentially. And also, for the number of books held in one space, the mobile library service has its largest number of turnover of books. So even something simple like the mobile service is providing a very valuable community asset. You know, tick that box.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Any other comments? I'll put it all in favour. Carried.
Fantastic, thank you. 8.3 is a brief summary of grant applications that we're proposing to submit. Previously have delegated authority to do that. The first in the report is seek council support to these 3 grant applications. Too small, the $20,000 grant to support some shade sales, which we have in budget and wanting to extend on that, actually at 3 locations. And $5,000 grant for Seniors Week, which is a very popular they've been bussed out to a week-long event that we run, and in conjunction with the Laura Lieutenant Club, supporting their grant for $150,000 from the club grant to develop the 10 courts and some lighting and a number of facilities outlined in the report.
Thank you. Can I move it, please? Moved by Councillor Kennedy, seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments, councillors? I'll put it all in favour. Aye. Against, carried.
And just seeking a resolution from council to allow us to affix the common seal to the deed of agreement for our regional library service provider, Ringwood Regional Library.
Moved by Councillor Whitchurch, seconded by Councillor Wales. Any comments, councillors? All in favour? Aye. Against, carried.
Thank you. And 8.5 is an event sponsorship proposal received from the Moala Public School. We've run 2 grant programs at council. This was to the tourism sponsorship program that we run. We did internally assess the application against the criteria of the program. Unfortunately, we weren't in a position to recommend it in terms of it not being a good fit for the criteria we have as part of that sponsorship program. We did think it would have been a much better fit with the community development grant program, which is out at the moment, but the timing of that won't suit the school reading, and so I have recommended that we don't support that application under the tourism sponsorship program.
Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments? Councillor Thomas.
You knew it was coming. So I would like to acknowledge the recommendation that's been put forward by Council in relation to this matter. Although I would like to propose an alternative recommendation to Council for this wonderful celebration of 150 years of public education, and I would like it to read: Federation Council contributes $1,000 towards the celebratory student art auction and supper to be held at the Moela Football Netball Club Rooms at Lonsdale Reserve on the evening of Friday the 26th of October. And just to give you a quick brief of the 2 days, there are 4 significant events being held over the Friday and the Saturday. Thank you.
So you're moving a portion of it?
Yes.
Motion. And do you have a second? Yes. Councillor Wales, seconded by Councillor Wales. Councillor Long. I'm sorry.
Is there an opportunity there for the group to come forward through the community grants program in the round? Not
The time frame is too short.
too short.
Just the time.
Okay, I'll put the first motion.
Just speak to that. Understand the reasons for the recommendation, happy to support that because it doesn't meet the criteria. I was going to say if there was some other way the council could support this, whether whilst it didn't meet this criteria, won't fit the community grant, if there was some other way that council could consider supporting a local community in a very worthwhile celebration.
Okay, so tidy it up, we'll put the first motion, and then we'll deal with the favour. Okay. Against?
Oh, sorry, again.
The recommendation went down.
Yep.
Lost. And we have a new motion by Councillor Thomas. I'm sorry, just the next becomes the motion, sorry, yes, yeah.
I'll reread it. Federation Council contributes $1,000 towards the celebratory student art auction and supper to be held at the Moela Football Netball Club Rooms at Lonsdale Reserve on the evening of Friday the 26th of October. Do you want me to give you my paper? I'll come and grab it. Okay. That's a easy.
Sorry, that was moved by Councillor Thomas and seconded by Councillor Wells, yeah.
a very long time, and I believe it'd be worthwhile for this donation to go to the Colwell School. It'd make me happy.
Thank you, Councillor Moss. Councillor Watson?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, just in light of the recommendation being overturned, and I appreciate that was the situation we're in with Ms Kay's recommendation. I tend to agree with other councillors in this important time, and I'm sure that had that have come up in the due course of the community grants, it would have been ticked without a problem, unconditionally at 150 years. All I ask is a donation of $1,000. Is that the amount they were after, or they're happy with? And is that money going to be a deduction out of that community grant money, or where's that going to be sourced from?
So the funding proposals done from memory were $2,000 and $4,000. We didn't have any detail around how to spend the funds, so I'm not sure whether, I'm sure it'd be great, appreciated, any contribution is better than nothing, but I can't answer that question around what that will mean for the event. And we would probably have to look at taking $1,000 from the community grant budget. I think it's about $35,000. And look, I agree that we think that it would fit for that program, but what's the time? So, unless council wants to make additional provision in the overall budget, but
Thanks for that explanation, Ms Kay. I'd not knowing whether that we don't want to set a precedent for taking money in and out ahead of the grants, but I think given 150 years and the one-off, I would have no hesitation in withdrawing the $1,000 early out of the community grants if the council agrees.
Councillor Thomas?
I did touch base with the PNC president yesterday, and obviously had to enlighten her the news that was coming forward today on our business papers that this particular submission wasn't going to be able to go ahead, and that we're looking for an alternative on how we can make something to go ahead for Federation Council to support them. So that's where we came up with the concept for the Friday night and the students, that particular event, over the 4 events. We thought that was the best bit for council to contribute to. And the other point of call is that they're actually, there's a cake cutting ceremony, and they're getting a metre by a metre cake, and they're having eatable photo decals on top that depict 150 years. So they were either hoping that council can contribute to the Friday night or to the cake. So we went with the Friday night.
Excellent. Any further debate? If there's no further comments, I'll put it. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, Chrissy. For the Director of Finance and Organisational Development. Report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 9.1 is the statement of bank balances and reconciliation as in the August. Councillors?
Moved by Councillor Kennedy, seconded by Councillor Neagle. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll put it. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried.
9.2 is the schedule of investments at the same date, 31st of August 2018.
Moved by Councillor Neagle, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Any questions? I'll put it. All in favour? Against? Carried.
9.3, councillors, this is advising councillors of the extension of the heavy vehicle national law requirements effective from the 1st of October, and what they call the chain of responsibility consequences on council's operations. The report and the attachments cover really all the parts. Particularly important to us. It basically spreads the responsibility right across anyone that has a direct and indirect influence over transport heavy vehicles over 4.5 tonnes. The recommendation there on page 28, councillors.
Moved by Councillor Whitechurch, seconded by Councillor Thomas. Any questions or comments, councillors? Councillor Neagle?
Just a quick one, Mr Mayor, to say that reading the report, Mr Parker, council's got a bit of work to do to become compliant with those with that policy, and we hope that is being done in an expedient manner.
Yes, we've had staff involved with the APWEA, the engineers, training at Dubbo. We've also had information come from our insurers. The first step will be ensuring that we have appropriate signage. The one that initially concerned us was, in particular, was the sale yards, but because we don't control that over, a full seven days, 24 hours, remote signage is considered to be well down the path to satisfying our requirements, but obviously it will be something that we'll have to stay on top of.
Okay, thank you. Any further? No, I'll put it all in favour. Against carried. Thank you. Kim will now ask the Group for Infrastructure and Environment report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First report 10.1 is building approvals complying with construction certificates approved in the past month. For council information.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Longmire, seconded by Councillor Neal. Any questions or comments? Councillor Longmire?
Question for Mr. Gore in regard to the numbers that are here. Are we in a decline currently? In the last month, it just looks pretty low in where our development opportunities are coming forward. Is that fair call or not?
Possibly is a fair call, without knowing what's already sitting in the DA stage prior to a development. This to me represents pretty similar to what we've had in terms of what's actually being done. A lot of our development work in the building space, etc., is normally sheds, garages, swimming pools, pergolas. It's not very often we have something big in here.
I bring it to the attention of council because if you look at the conversation that happens between, once again, a cross-border anomaly with the building development that's occurring in Victoria, and this is right up and down the river. It's not only in Waganya, it's right up through. In fact, there's some building companies looking for an opportunity for the state government to release more land to be available. Is there something we should look at in the future development of Corowa because, the Shire, sorry, Federation Shire, but certainly Howlong's finding its own level of it, but Corowa seems to be a little bit stalled in regard to where it's going. Now, one of the contentious points I've had is the development service charge, which Mr. Parker and I have had a discussion about on different times. And at one stage, we are the highest in the region, no question about that, compared to Albury and Wodonga and Indigo and the rest of them. But my understanding is Mr. Parker had a plan of some subsidising the opportunity for development. I bring it to the attention because people were saying to me, where are we at on that regard? It's a question without notice, but I just thought I'd bring it to the attention of council that people are asking the question of where we go to and what we can do to make more incentive or do something in regard to development for certainly the township of Corowa.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Longmire, we've got the local environment plan review coming up.
Yes.
That's a prime opportunity to redo the work and to see what we need to do to generate more development via that.
Yes.
But certainly, as a part of that, looking at the development contributions plan to ensure that we're charging the correct rate and actually providing for future infrastructure such as new treatment plants and roads, etc. as a part of that contribution cost. So
yeah,
that's activities coming up throughout the next 12 months.
Thank you for that.
Any further questions or comments? If not, I'll put it all in favour.
Aye.
Against carried.
Item 10.2 is development applications approved under Dubbo County Staff Authority since last ordinary council meeting. Again, there's only been one DA process in this time approved. Again, reflecting the quiet period.
Can I moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments, councillors? I'll put it all in favour. Against carried. Thank you very much, Bill. And I'd just love to grab the opportunity while at the end of Peter's report. Council, on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank Mr. Gall for his work that he's put into council for the last 15 months. Peter actually stepped in as acting general manager for a period of time and then went on to engineering. Under not a normal situation, an emergency situation, which was tough, and I'd like to thank him for the way he conducted himself and the work that he has put into council. Unfortunately, his position his contract, so has to be tendered. It's regulation. But he, it's up to him where he goes from there. But whatever, on behalf of the Federation Council, and I'm sure councillors and staff, we'd like to thank you for all your hard work, Peter, and wish you all the best in your future.
Thank you, councillors. I would like to say this has probably been one of the most challenging jobs I've had in all my years. I've been involved in flood recovery works and a whole range of other acting roles. And yes, without a doubt, coming in as the infrastructure director to bring about change, and then the ultimate change of GM, leaving the position and having to act in that period, and then back to the role, has really been interesting and thoroughly enjoyed the time. So working with you guys has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 11, notice of motion, question without notice, there be none. Reports from committees, there's no item. There is the 12.1's Coral Skate Park upgrade, steering committee. There is a recommendation. Oh no, it's not. It's 12.2, Federation Youth Council. Sorry, there is a recommendation. There's a Coral Skate Park steering committee held on the 24th of July. To be noted. Can I move, please? Moved by Councillor Law, seconded by Councillor Whitechurch. Comments, Councillor Whitechurch?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, if I could. I just note, and it seems to be cropping up all of the time, and I thought it was buried, was from Mrs Lewis has requested that Council's still got a hidden agenda on the skate park. I don't know what needs to be done to get that straight, that the skate park was going to be done as and was originally intended. There was options obviously put up by the consultant, but I would have thought that was finished. It seems to be keep raising its head at these meetings. Is there a reason for that, or why is this happening?
Well, we can't let Peter leave the job without
I'd probably like to say that Ellen's had a long-term involvement in it, and she's had a range of requests and comments throughout. Any discussion around some of those comments and requests, I'd rather talk in confidential than open council.
Thanks, Chris.
But your point is clear, Councillor Whitechurch, there's no hidden agenda. It's just as it is now, out of date. So if there's nothing further, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried. Okay, item 12.2, Federation Youth Council ordinary meeting. There's a recommendation that time. We move, please. Moved by Councillor Law, seconded by Councillor Thomas. Comment, Councillor Thomas.
So I just want to confirm that Across the Arts is very happy to donate the piano for Morwela. We just need to make some logistical arrangements about getting it from underneath the stage in Yarrawonga to its location or their hub that they're going to be, where they're going to be painting it, which will be brilliant. Another question that has been posed in terms of the Youth Council is, with their terms of reference, could a Morwela high school student attending a Victorian school be considered to be on the Youth Council for Federation?
I'm sure that would be fine. We would need to discuss, obviously, around their election. So
yeah,
to have that process each year.
That was from a school teacher who resides in Morwela but teaches at the Yarrawonga Secondary College. She has in the past been involved with Youth Council with the Moira Shire, and she was hoping that maybe they could get some representation from the Morwela high school students that might not be attending the state school on this side. And I'm really looking forward to reading their bios.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Any further questions, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried. 12.3, the minutes and report meeting of the Access Committee held in the Tom Roberts room on Tuesday, 28th of August. There's a recommendation there. Would someone like to move that recommendation, please? Moved by Councillor Law, seconded by Councillor Wales. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll put it. All in favour? Against, carried. 13 reports from delegates. Just one report. The council wants to report on the West Kooragang Private Irrigation District, AGM, and opens Town Improvement Committee General Meeting.
Lachlan, which was fabulous. And I was able to meet Jeff, who is actually sits on their board, but he also sits on our Federation Council's Floodplain Management Committee. So that was really good to meet him and get some feedback on what he thought about that committee. Just really want to give you a really quick brief of a major project that West Caroogan are doing at the moment, and that is actually developing a strategy to increase the efficiency of the whole scheme. So that's with their delivery, their metering, their on-farm efficiency, especially in regards to modernisation and technology advancement. And they've got a private consultant, and they really are seeking project partnerships with funding from state and federal government to actually look at, because it's been done in the north, maybe around parks, those kind of irrigation districts, and they're using those as a base model to see if they can bring some of those concepts down to West Caroogan. Obviously, the hot topic for much of the general business was water security, and it was very high on the agenda. And I'm sitting in a room with a group of very, very emotional irrigators, because as you are very much aware, they're sitting on zero allocation for general security. Apparently, even if you get 1% allocation, you then do have access to conveyance water, and they can't even get that at the moment. And as you know, we're sitting here today on the 18th of September, and we're still sitting at zero allocation. So it's still very much a topic that needs to have lots of discussion and conversation around. I then was able to bring our general manager, who, with our fellow councillor Longmire, we're heading off to the Murray-Darling conference in Leeton, and hoping that they might have a chance or possibility to make representation on behalf of West Caroogan. And the other possibility was that we're going to use our joint organisation connections to actually use that as another avenue to push forward the case about regards water security and the allocation at the moment. And as you would be aware, that the chairperson of our joint organisation has released a media release around that particular issue. I'll move on to, any questions? No? I'll move on to Oakland. So we went to, Councillor Wowes and myself were delegates on the Oakland Town Improvement Committee, and it was a really great opportunity. Our General Manager, Mr. Butler, was there as well, and it was a great opportunity to engage with this community, because they're a really, really vibrant community, and they have so much pride and self-ownership over a lot of their projects and outcomes, and that's why they have the capacity to deliver for that reason. So between council and committee, we've come up with a number of strategies to help them out, and they had quite an extensive list that they wanted answers for, but I think we got through the 12 of them, which was really good. So some of those strategies include using existing networks actually to get some information out to the communities in the north, and also for them to utilise our very current community grants for simple things like signage on their cenotaph. And we've got a very, very exciting project that fellow Councillor Wowes is going to tell you about, that's happening in Oakland, about the Ruston engine. So you have the photos.
Yes, well done, Bronnie, and it is a good committee, the Oakland's committee. They are vibrant, and I look forward to it. They say a picture says 1,000 words, well, there's my 1,000 words, but I'll show those. But this is about a Ruston engine, Hornsby engine, what's in the area at Oakland during the war, and they had security and guard dogs. I don't think they guard the engine though, but they just hold the power. And now this engine is going to be located in the main street of Oakland. They've got the slab floor there, they've got a little shed up to house it. It does go, and it will be going in Oakland, so it's a pretty good piece of work, and it's pretty old, diesel engine, and it's got a big flywheel, and the flywheel weighs about 2 tonnes, and that actually drives the engine. So, but I'll show you this later. Look, but it'll be a good project, and I can't wait for it to be up and running, and people to come and have a look at it. Thank you.
Might just, Councillor Longmire might comment as well. I did have a written process of the Murray-Darling Association conference, which I will send around. It was an interesting couple of days. We did seek to have representation about the West Caroogan issues. I don't want to sound too negative on it, but the strong message that we got out of those 2 days was there's zero chance of any change to the Murray-Darling Basin plan, and it's a plan that's in, and right from Niall Blair, who was the Minister, who spoke very early in the conference, right down, obviously through all the South Australian councils that are represented very strongly through that MDA. Big push to leave the plan as it is and make it work. And so there's a lot of different speakers, but they're pushing strongly from cotton to rice to wine grapes, showcasing all the different uses of water. And we had the Philip Blyde spoke, the Murray-Darling Basin Authority Executive. We had Jody Swearpick, who also spoke on socio-economic neutrality, is the latest word that they're trying to use to try and achieve a balance between the plan's implementation and outcomes. But if anyone heard David Pabst the other day, who was the former head of the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, speak on the radio against Deputy Prime Minister McCormick's comments about, and probably same as Kevin Mack's comments about trying to urge release of temporary transfer of environmental water. Yeah, certainly a strong lobby there that would never happen, and I couldn't see any strength coming out of that sort of forum about along those lines. So yeah, it was an interesting couple of days. They had their AGM at the end of that, so Councillor Burley out of Albury is still the national chair of that group. Murray-Darling Association, there's about 70 councils. They're trying to get a lot more representation from across the whole basin, so obviously working really hard to engage with not only the Murray-Darling Basin Authority but also those three particular states, especially most impacted, trying to work with those state groups. So it's certainly a concerted effort that the MDA making to try and engage more positively. This council is a member, some councils are not members, and others are pulling out and trying to focus their attention into RAMJO and those types of organisations, and hope that they can do the thing. Right at the moment, Federation's in the MDA, and we're going to try and further our presence and position in there. But Councillor Long might want to speak on any of the actions from that couple of days.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think in support of the General Manager's comments, the elephant in the room, and certainly to the Western Division area, is cotton growing. It uses and needs a lot of water, but it also employs a lot of people, and for the economic development of what it makes in resource of the product is enormous. And so it was quite interesting to see the representative from that group, the CEO, I think, from the Australian Cotton Growers Industry, or whichever it is, defending the position of what amount of water they use, because you could feel that there was a lot of tension, certainly on the Darling River. It was focused on the Darling River mainly in regard to how dry it is and all the rest of it and whatever, and so there was a lot of intense discussion around that opportunity for the cotton growing industry. But and so there's two sides to the story there, absolutely. So yeah, and the other one was that I actually had an opportunity to speak to the MDA, the CEO Emma Bradbury, and actually the General Manager used the opportunity, which is his call, to invite her to come to Council and do a presentation, and I think that's in the pipeline as I understand it. So that will be valuable, but certainly the minutes of the meeting, which the General Manager will distribute to the councillors, is a better opportunity to understand what the meeting was all about and what was adopted in us coming back with a verbal report. But yeah, it's a valuable entity, I believe, and yeah, a lot of people I think the conference next year is in Queensland at the start of the Darling. Where is it? Toowoomba, that's right, yeah. So it's right up in Queensland, but the focus was deliberately, so I suppose it should be under the circumstances of the big drought in New South Wales on the Darling River, and so not so much the Murray River. But once again, the South Australians are very pronounced in their position. They are real goers in that situation. Councillor Meagle, they fight for what they reckon is theirs. So and not unfairly, should I say, they're up there pronouncing what they want. So yeah, but it was a good conference, and yeah, it was valuable to go and attend.
The other thing that just quickly add, Councillor Longmire would have noticed that they were very strong on the new New South Wales Regulatory Authority that is right into water theft and tampering with water meters. So coming off the back of the Four Corners report about 12 months ago, New South Wales look like they're a long way ahead of the other states in that regulation space, but there are significant resources and fines and infringements going into water theft, and really trying to, I think, just again, South Australia, obviously one of the most outspoken critics of of misuse of water in the northern areas, so that was a very strong push from New South Wales government that they're taking that extremely seriously. No.
Okay, councillors, we'll move on to 14, correspondence. Sorry, we'll have to move to Councillor Lord, seconded Councillor Neagle. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Now, correspondence number 14. We've got 14.1 down to 14.4. Councillors, just let me know if there's any items there in particular you want to discuss. Otherwise, I'll move them as a block. It's a recommendation, so if I have a mover, please. Councillor Neagle, seconded by Councillor Kennedy.
Just on the Open Truck Show Committee, might just comment on that one if I could, while we've got the report open. That truck show letter saying that the truck show will not be held. Talks are afoot with another committee that might be trying to rescue that event and have that event still held next March or so.
March, yeah.
I think. So that's something that has been raised to me even out of the Oaklands meeting the other night, about council would need to make sure that if we have forwarded through sponsorship money that we do get that transferred to the new committee, if they are going to go ahead with that fantastic event.
I did get the same information, so hopefully that'll be resolved. Any further questions or comments, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Aye. Against? Carried. Item 14.5, Howlong Football Club. Recommendation that council note the letter from the Howlong Football Club Inc. in support of the request in principle, subject to consultation and approvals being gained. Can I have a mover, please, councillor? Moved by Councillor Kennedy, seconded by Councillor Neagle. Any questions or comments, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against? Carried. Okay. 14.6, Friends of the Library. The recommendation of the council note the letter from Friends of the Library, Cora, and authorise the committee to use their fundraising money to make a donation of $500 each to Cora High School, Cora Public School, Cora South Public School, St Mary's Primary School, and Rosedale Public School. Moved by Councillor Waller, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll put it. All in favour? Against?